In this video, I'll explain how you can create your own garden layout for free using Google Slides. I've opened Google Slides, named my file for garden layout. I already have my seeds ordered, so I have my plant sizes that I put in here. Most of them fall into all of these categories. It was pretty easy to sort them by size based off information you can find online or in a book or even on your seed packets. I have my 24-inch plant size, 18-inch, 12-inch, 8-inch, 6-inch, and 2-inch. I do have a couple that your rows can be a little closer together, like green beans. Your rows need to be 8 inches apart, but your plants in each row should be 4 inches apart. So there are some things to work with on that, but I'm not too concerned about that. I just want to get an idea of where everything can be planted in my garden and how much I can use. So I've already gone through again and sorted each of my plants into these plant sizes, and now I'm going to make my first couple of beds. I have 6 similar sized raised beds in my garden currently. And so on each slide, I will be able to fit 2. So I'm going to go up here to the top, do a new slide, and choose a blank slide. And I'm going to insert a table. My garden beds are 10 feet. The small ones are 2.5 feet. I'm choosing to use 3 rows on my table. So I'm going to do a 10 by 3 and move that up towards the top here. And so I'm actually going to edit this table. You see, normally I can right click on the table and go to format options, and it brings up the format on the side here. My width, again, I'm going to do inches equal to feet. So my width is 10 feet by 2.5 feet for this small bed. And then I'm just going to click off of that, and you can see it reset the width and the height scale. And so now, in order for this to fit on my page, because as you can see, it goes off the page, in order for it to fit on the page, I'm going to do a 75% width scale and 75% height scale. And so that is the scale that I'm going to use throughout my entire document. And then, so that is the small beds that I have going across the top of my garden. Now I'm going to insert a table. For my other beds are 10 by 4. Okay, move this down. And as you can see, the format options come up on the side automatically. I'm going to do, again, inches equal to feet. So 10 inches by 4 inches on my width and my height. And you can see it has the width scale at 126 and the height scale at 240. So I'm just going to click off of that and then click back on my chart. And it does 100%. So now I can take it down to 75% for both the width and the height. And so now my beds here on the screen are similar in size to the beds I would have in my garden. And this is very similar to how I have it. I have this smaller bed up on the top side of my garden, lining the outside. And then right next to it, there's actually a larger path in between, but right next to it, I have these larger garden beds, the 10 by 4. So I have 3 sets of these through my garden. So 3 10 by 2.5 and 3 10 by 4 in each bed. So I'll be able to use this same sheet to do my other beds. In fact, I can go ahead and right click on the slide over there, hit duplicate slide, and then now duplicate slide again. And now you can see I have 1, 2, 3 sets of my garden beds. So that was easy to make each garden bed. If you have a different size garden bed, just insert a table. If you have a 5 by 3, you can do 5 by 3. And then know when you scale it so that it fits on your page, then each of these boxes is approximately 1 foot. Of course, my smaller box is going to be different because this width is 2.5 feet, and you can see I have 3 rows here. But as I insert my plants, I will be able to easily navigate where I want the plants to go. So now back to my plant sizes. I'm actually going to make a note that I use a 75% scale, because I don't want to forget that 75% scale. All right, so on my 24-inch plants, that is 2 feet, I want to insert a shape, and I'm going to do a circle. So I can do a circle here, and then you can actually come over here to the side and do it exactly 2 by 2. Okay, and this is my 2-foot circle. Okay, and I want my width scale and height scale to be 75%. So that is what my 2-foot circle looks like. Now I want to insert shape, do a circle. Again, now we're 18 inches, and 18 inches is 1.5 feet. Okay, so that makes it into a perfect circle. And then I go back and I change it to 75% with scale, because that's the scale that I'm using in my document. Okay, and then we just keep going. Shape, circle, and 12 inches is 1 foot. And then go back and make it 75% scale. And notice I have to click off of it to reset the scale, because now you see it's 70.75 inches and it has 100% scale. In my 1.5. So I'm going to insert a circle. Okay, I'm going to go with the 6 inches. That is like a 1/2 foot. So 0.5, 0.5. And a 75% scale. So I think for my 6 inches and 8 inches, I'll just use the same circle. Green beans are pretty forgiving when planting them next to each other. I'll just make sure that the spacing between each of the rows that I have is set up properly. And then for the carrots being 2 inches apart, I am actually just going to use rectangular options to place my carrots. And I know that wherever I place that line of carrots, I'll have several seeds approximately 2 inches apart as I continue to thin them out. All right, so in my first bed, I'm going to start with my tomatoes. And when you do start this, it is good to have an idea of what plants you want to put next to each other. Like I've been researching some companion planting, and of course you have to go based off of what you had planted in each bed in previous years, so that you can rotate your crops properly. So this year I am planning to do my tomatoes mixed in with some carrots and basil. And then I even have different flowers that I will probably end up planting in there. But I just want to kind of get an idea of what I can do with my plants. So I'm going to select on this 2-foot and I am going to copy it. I'm going to go over to the bed that I want to put my tomatoes in, and I am going to paste it a few times. Paste several of them. So in here I will be able to put my Roma tomatoes and my beefsteak tomatoes. And then I will have some cherry tomatoes. Just place my tomatoes in the center, and then I plan to fill the spaces along the outside with different options. I will probably place one more paste Roma tomato here. So I'm going to insert a few text boxes, because I'm going to have aroma. Control C and Control V, Control V. A couple of Roma tomatoes. I want to put some basil. Basil I have here on the 12-inch scale. So I am going to select that and Control C. Go back to my garden bed that I was working in and Control V. And I will put a couple of basil plants in here. I know for the carrots, they will actually be able to grow under the tomatoes. And so I'm going to plant them. I'm going to make myself a big rectangle. And I am going to plant carrots all along this side here. You can actually go ahead and change your fill color, since my carrots are an orange. I will do a light orange color, and those will be considered as my carrots. So I'll be able to continue going on in this manner. I'll even put another row of carrots along the outside here. Again, this is where your research comes in handy. I had read how the carrots, they like a little bit of shade. They don't take up much room on the ground. In the tomatoes, they get nice and large, and they aren't on the ground. You have them staked up so that the ground underneath your tomatoes is free to be able to use for the carrots. So I may choose to even put some marigolds in the space up here. I could use a little 6-inch circle to place some marigolds in here, just to give some other color and encourage pollinators in that space. Green beans. The green beans, those are also the small. So last year I had my green beans in one of these smaller beds here. And it actually worked out really well to have several green bean plants all in a row. Align them in the center so they're all lined up. And then you can see they're all lined up well here. So I have 4 green bean plants in this 2.5 foot space. And so I can go ahead and actually group them together and plant a whole nother row. And I'll do them about a foot apart. So you can see I have all of my green beans here in this plant, in this box. I could even just do a text box right here that says green beans. I'll continue through this for all of my beds that I have. I have now finished designing all of my garden beds. It did take a bit of time to get everything done, but I will say the further I went along, the easier it was to use copy and paste to move things into different places. And I even have a space where I made notes, and I'll make more notes for each bed of what I need to do as I'm planning and planting. And you can see I have added colors, text boxes with the names of each plant, spacing is set for each plant. Copy and paste was my friend, and then also using the nudge feature with the cursor arrows, and then if you need a smaller movement, you can press shift while pressing an arrow and it will move a smaller space. So I have a different video where I talk about why I chose the spaces I did for my plants. So feel free to check that out on my YouTube channel, This Little Garden of Mine. But this is a pretty basic design that you can do in Google Slides and nearly any program where you can create tables and shapes. So I hope you learned, and please visit my channel again. Happy gardening!